very, very important that you protect your peer group. But some people say, like, well, but some of my peers are my family. Love your family, but choose your peers. And here's what I mean. Your peer group, the expectations that your peer group will have a correlation on where you set your standards. If your peer group has a lower set of standards or a lower set of aspirations than you do, one of three things will happen. One, either you'll settle on your standards, right? Either you'll settle on your standards, you'll elevate them or elevate their standards, or three, you'll find a new peer group. And here's why it's so powerful. What's one of the 6 human needs that's the most that we're most trying to achieve? Love and connection. So what happens is, if you've got friends or you've got coworkers or you've got peers that you're hanging out with, and they've got a lower standard, say, than you do, that's when you'll hear things like, oh, what's the big deal? Why do you have to go home early to prepare for tomorrow? It's no big deal. Just take another bite. It's not that big of a deal, right? And what will happen is, as you interact with that gap, the difference between your standards and their standards, the danger is most often than not, you'll cave a little. And as you cave a little, your standards were lower. And so Jim Rohn always talked about you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. Protect that group. Like, be fanatical about who you actually consider your peers. Don't give the power of feeling loved and connected with, now again, like I said, this is with respect to your family. Love your family, but choose your peers. Choose your peers really, really wisely. You guys are lucky because you have an extraordinary group of people within here who have a common goal to grow, who have a common goal to contribute, to serve others, right? But for example, my nephew asked me, he's just joined the Air Force. So I have nephews just joined the Air Force, went through boot camp, and now he's in like regular enlisted duty. Then I've got another friend of mine, she's a lieutenant colonel. And one of the things that both of them commented about, Jake, my nephew, commented that, oh my gosh, Uncle Rob, when I go from boot camp, where he thrived, to regular duty, what do they call that? Enlisted duty? Active duty. He said, it's weird. The standards aren't the same, and I don't like it. It's less disciplined. People don't quite show, like in boot camp, you show up on time or the whole group suffers, right? So there's an elevated standard. And both my nephew commented to me about this, and our friend who's a lieutenant colonel commented. She said, she said, I wonder, what do you think it is specifically about people who retire from military or law enforcement that particular group has a higher percentage of depression and even suicide than many other groups or trades or whatever, or associations, whatever you want to call it. And the reality is, for most, they've gone the majority of their career, or in Jake's case, the majority of his basic training, where the standard was really, really high, and the expectations from their peers were that you maintain that standard. And so he got used to living a life according to that standard, and he actually liked it. Same for those who retire, who have spent years serving the public and have a greater expectation of themselves from their peers. When they retire, they no longer have that network that can often face frustration, depression, and the rates of suicide are really high. So there's real-world examples of how that comes into play. But my encouragement to you as we continue to grow is look for those peers that you can collaborate within and amongst yourselves. But have a criteria for it, right? Have a criteria that they match who you are aspiring to be as you grow. Does that make sense?